Got it, folks. I'll take that from me, thank you. Okay, oh, I'm covering myself up again. Alright, folks, let me buckle in. Widget Walls from NeedCoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how it works for the uninitiated. I have just left the cinema, which is over there, and I've seen a film, which is what one normally does in a cinema, at least this kind of cinema. And I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home. Just easier that way. And today, we're here to talk about Elysium. So, okay. Elysium. Oh, this is my hand again. Alright, synopsis first. Basically, it's the year, I think I called it was 2154. And, there's been some sort of terrible plague which has turned every rich person on Earth into a gigantic prick. And because of this, they have decided to, in essence, evacuate the planet and build this giant satellite called Elysium. And they've all just gone to live on Elysium and said to hell with everybody else. And life on Earth sucks now. Just because it sucks. There's overpopulation, the environment's gone to hell. It looks like, imagine like if Mad Max was a lot more crowded. That's the Earth in 2154. And the big deal about Elysium, apart from it being so clean and very, very white, is that they have med bays where you can get cured of everything. I mean, pretty much literally everything. But they don't have that on Earth. We'll get to that in a second. And so our hero, played by Matt Damon, who I swear to God in this, because he's so bulked up and everything, looks like the bald, slightly goofy guy from The Wire. I forget his name, but really, seriously, what?
Herc is the character's name.
Herc is the character's name. Separated at birth, apparently. Anyway, he is a former convict who has tried to go straight and narrow, but of course that never works out. And through an accident, an industrial accident, gets completely irradiated. Now, because this isn't the Marvel Universe, he doesn't turn into the Hulk. Instead, he's going to die. So he decides that come hell or high water, he's going to go to Elysium, and he's going to cure himself so that he doesn't die, because he doesn't want to die. And thus, as you saw in the trailer, they hook him up to an exoskeleton so he can kick some ass, and he's off on an adventure to try to save himself. That's synopsis. Okay. For the film itself, it's a very pretty film. It's got some really fantastic weapons in it, as Cassette was pointing out repeatedly, as something to remind me of that was good when I was just picking things apart. But, and let me just, I will say this about the weapons. And if you've been paying attention to the stills and the trailers and stuff, you'll know that this, I'm not giving anything away, but any movie with a railgun in it, that's your friend. So, that being said, one of the things I really like about science fiction is that there's actually a bit of science to go along with the fiction. And I don't even mind if you have completely fictional science, i.e. it, I don't know, something like, in Perdido Street Station, where everything is completely wacky, but it's wacky in a consistent way. My problem with Elysium is, first of all, I mean, truly, there must have been a plague to turn all the rich people on Earth into pricks. Now, granted, there are a lot of rich pricks, don't get me wrong, but there actually are some decent people who happen to have a lot of money. And apparently, they've all been wiped out or something. I have no idea how that works, which makes this almost like a fable. But it doesn't feel exactly like a fable. Because you have things that just don't make a lot of sense. And unfortunately, although cannily, all of that stuff is stuff that was not in the trailer, and thus I don't want to really go into it because that would be spoilers, and I don't do spoilers. But I will say this. I think it's quite fascinating that you can have such an amazingly, technological space station like they have. And did I call it satellite before? Because I was thinking of the satellite of love. But it's a space station. You can have that, but apparently you can't do any programming on it. You have to go to Earth to do any programming. I know, it makes absolutely no sense, right? That's pretty much how the film goes. I found myself, once things were happening, okay? Once you've got, exoskeleton Matt Damon kicking some ass, and there was something to distract you from it. But when things weren't happening on the screen, you had to constantly ask yourself, why did that exactly just happen? Like, for example, the whole concept of a technology that's on the space station so apparently the space station has been up there for decades. Okay? And somehow the technology that they have up there has never leaked down to the surface of the planet. Ever. Apparently, maybe that's where all the nice rich people went, as they tried to, like, Hephaestus give fire to humanity and got killed by androids. I have no idea. But I'm like, I'm sorry, we're in the 21st century, and anything that you can come up with can be duplicated by, 12-year-olds working in a sweatshop within 6 weeks. Like, completely duplicated. So I don't understand how that even works. So again, it almost feels like it's some sort of fable. But it still doesn't. It still doesn't, because there's just too much flying stuff and railguns and exoskeletons for me to clue into the whole fable thing. You know what I mean by feeling like fable? When stuff doesn't make sense, but it's trying to make, some sort of point or something like that. But I almost don't want to go there, because if that's the case, if you go into Fableville, then it's so heavy-handed that you would need an exoskeleton to lift up your hands. That's pretty heavy-handed. So, I mean, I don't know. Part of the problem is, I think that it's a situation in which you have the story, okay? And rather than building a world that fits and will make the story work, it's almost like you built 50% of a world and then went, okay, well, we sort of have to tweak everything else because otherwise the story won't make any sense. When you just could have done, I don't know, something to make it make sense without having to force it, without having to have holes in it. Very, very big holes. Which I wish I could, outline for you, but I can't because of spoilers. That's just the rules. So, but, okay, good things. Again, apart from being pretty, apart from the weapons being good, apart from what technology there was looking amazing, okay, and of course, the Weta Workshop was involved with this, so, a lot of it's going to look good. The standout thing, apart from Jodie Foster being evil and Matt Damon being Hercules, you had Charlton Copley, who was fantastic. This is a guy who apparently can do pretty much anything, because he's gone from, District 9, where he was the star of Neil, I'm going to say the name wrong, please excuse me, Blomkamp's, probably completely screwed that up, last film. He was in the A-Team. He's playing the bad guy in Oldboy. So I don't know that there's anything that the guy can't do. With this, he's playing just a completely wonderfully demented assassin, which is just really cool. But yeah, he is definitely the high point of the film. So yes, I mean, that is the problem. There are so many, the world has holes in it, and you know how I am about world building. I really appreciate really good world building. And, I mean, it doesn't take a lot of money to make a good world. Go back and watch, go back and watch Monsters. Go back and watch Daybreakers. You can do worlds on a budget. And this had a pretty decent budget. So, Getting to the point. Cup-wise, I think I'm going to go with 2 out of 5. I wish I could give it more, but I really wanted to like the film. But every time I started to get that warm, fuzzy feeling in the subcochal region of my heart, there would be some other hole that would be exposed, and I would go, oh, God, what did you do? So it really struggled with me. So 2 out of 5 cups. Now, should you see it? Well, you know, if you've got a decent home theater rig at home, no, you shouldn't. But I understand that, you know, you got a lot of Matt Damon fans, you got a lot of Neil Blomkamp fans who've been waiting for this and, you know, want to know what he's done instead of District 10, which is fine because he shouldn't have done that anyway. For those people, I would say go see a matinee and save your coin. And I would tell you to go see Pacific Rim again, but I think it's already left theaters because, you know, we needed another Sky Captain, I guess. So anyway, so there you go. That's that. I wish I had better news to report, and I wish I could tell you more about it, but, you know, those are the rules. So, thanks so much for watching these. I appreciate everyone who does, and if you do, like we said, because these are, in essence, viewer-supported, you can support us by taking 2 of your myriad social networks that you have, and sharing this on that, so that the word can spread. So yes, if you do that for us, take 2 seconds, because this is the future, and we can do things quickly already. It doesn't have to be 2154. It's amazing. If you could do that for us, that would be very great. So this is me, Widget Walls, saying we'll see you next time on the Wayhomer Reviews. Bye.